A bride and groom in a chapel may bring a tear to the eye, but what a thrill when love...
So, I don't think this is on yet. Okay. Thank you for coming. If you've been to one of these before, you know how much I hate standing here talking to you. It's usually something I have the kids do, but they're all getting ready, so it's left to me. Speaking of kids, I wanted to make sure you understand how student-driven this production is. We have students running backstage. We have students who have made costumes. We have students who have choreographed full musical numbers. We have students who made some of our major and most important props, which I'm not going to tell you about because it'll be a major surprise. And we have two students who didn't make the playbill that I want to tell you about, Miss Madison Bendick and Mr. Christian Edwards, who are amazing and wonderful, and we wouldn't be able to do the show without them. So thank you both. Want to mention also that today is the birthday of Mr. Ernie Mills, our conductor. And finally, and I promise you there will be nothing more entertaining than what you will see on this stage. So please. These kids have worked really, really hard. They're amazing, and enjoy the show.
I hate theater. Well, it's so disappointing, isn't it? You know what I do when I'm sitting in a darkened theater waiting for the curtain to rise? I pray. Dear God, please let it be a good show, and let it be short. Oh, Lord in heaven, please. 2 hours is fine, 3 hours is too much. And keep the actors out of the audience. God, I didn't pay $100 to have the fourth wall come crashing down around my ears. I just want a story and a few good songs to take me away. I just want to be entertained. I mean, isn't that the point? Amen. You know, there was a time when people sat in darkened theaters and thought to themselves, what if George and Ira got for me tonight? Or can Cole Porter pull it off again? And now it's just, please, Elton John, must we continue the charade? It used to be, sitting there in the dark, you knew that when the lights came up, you would be taken to a world full of color and music and glamour. And you thought to yourself, my God, when are they going to bring up the lights? Oh, how things have changed. Hello. How are we today? Oh, a little quiet? I'm feeling a little blue myself. You know, a little anxious for no particular reason. A little sad that I should feel anxious at this age. You know, a little self-conscious anxiety resulting in non-specific sadness. A state that I call blue. Anyway, whenever I'm feeling this way, blue, I like to listen to my music. So I was going through my box of records this morning. Yes, records. And I was about to put on the 1962 soundtrack recording of Meredith Willson's The Music Man. I had a craving for a young Ronnie Howard. But then I thought to myself, no, let's have a treat. Let's disappear for a moment into the decadent world of the 1920s, where the champagne flowed while the caviar chilled and all the world was a party. For the wealthy, anyway. So I dug about my box of records, and what did I find? But one of my favorite shows, Gable and Stein's The Drowsy Chaperone. Remember? Music by Julie Gable, lyrics by Sidney Stein. It's a 2-record set, remastered from the original recording in 1928. It's the full show with the entire original cast, including Beatrice Stockwell as the chaperone. Isn't she elegant? This is a full 15 years before she became Dame Beatrice Stockwell. Can you believe it? Let me read to you what it says on the back. It says, mix-ups, mayhem, and a gay wedding. Of course, the phrase gay wedding has a different meaning now, but back then it just meant fun. And that's exactly what this show is. Fun. So would you indulge me? Let me play it for you. Are you going to give me an answer? It's not like we're at a show or anything. Thank you, thank you. A little bit hard to locate the center of this sometimes. You hear that static? I love that sound. To me, that's the sound of a time machine starting up. Now let's imagine. Visualize, if you will, it's November 1928. You've just arrived at the doors of the Morosco Theater in New York. It doesn't exist anymore. It was torn down in 1982 and replaced with some enormous hotel. Unforgivable. Anyway, you came by horse. A horse-drawn carriage, that is. You weren't actually riding the horse. It's very cold outside, and there's a heavy gray sleet falling from the sky. But you don't care because you're going to see a Broadway show. Listen. Isn't that wonderful? It helps if you close your eyes. Overtures. Overtures are out of style now. I miss them. It's a polite way of beginning the evening. It's the show's way of welcoming you. Hello, welcome. The meal will be served shortly, but for now, would you like an appetizer? That's what an overture is. A musical appetizer. A poo-poo platter of tunes, if you will. Oh, something new. What could it be? Sounds like a dance number. A kind of rollicking. Maybe involving pirates. Don't worry, there are no pirates in this show. This is it. The moment when the music builds and you know you're only seconds away from being transported. A new Gable and Stein musical. I can't wait.
Yes, madam.
How do I look?
You look radiant, Miss Tottendale.
Oh, I do love this dress so. It never goes out of style.
It's a miracle, madam.
Now, the guests will be arriving shortly.
Yes, madam.
And why are they coming?
For the wedding.
The wedding, of course. Oh, I do love a wedding. I shall go put on my fancy dress.
You're wearing it, madam.
Oh, silly me. Oh, I do love this dress so. It never goes out of style. When will the guests be arriving?
They'll be here shortly, madam.
Oh, I shall go put on my fancy dress.
Oh, Miss Tottendale.
My dress, my fancy dress. I don't know why I'm wearing it, I must confess. My dress, I love my dress. Would someone tell me why I put it on?
Yes, yes, your dress, your fancy dress. 'Twas such a pleasure airing it, restitching and repairing it. God bless your dress, it's one fine dress. And I will tell you why you put it on. Wedding bells will ring, wedding bells will chime. Madam, you're the hostess and it's happy wedding time. Wedding bells will ding, wedding bells will dong. Wedding bells will ding-a-ling and we will ding along. Your dress, your fancy dress. We're very, very glad you put it on. Wedding guests have come,
Wedding guests are here. Wedding guests are at the door. Soon they will appear.
I'm Robert, the bridegroom. I'm here to marry Janet, that star of Velvet Follies, whom I love a lot.
I'm George, that's George, the best man, George. I'm honored to be doing what a best man ought. Mrs. Tottendale, I've got the whole wedding planned out. The key is organization, you see? Each string represents a task yet to be completed. Pay the florist, book the musicians, yell at the minister. The whole wedding's going to run like clockwork.
Oh, is there going to be a wedding?
I'm Feltzig, producer. I lost my leading lady. I gotta stop this wedding or I ain't got squat.
I'm Kitty, just Kitty. I came with Mr. Feltzig. I'll be a leading lady if I get my shot.
We're pastry chefs. We're pastry chefs. We cross our hearts. We're pastry chefs. No bakery. A bakery is what we got.
Adolfo, my name it is Adolfo. I am the king of romance, so I kiss a lot.
You are the king of romance, so you kiss a lot. Wedding bells will ring, wedding bells will chime, wedding bells will celebrate a happy wedding time. Someone hasn't come, someone isn't here. Where is Janet Van de Graaff and when will she appear? It's Janet, it's Janet, it's Janet Van de Graaff.
I'm Janet, Janet Van de Graaff, here to marry Robert Martin, giving up a life of glamour to tie the knot.
Oh, am I late?
Chaperone of a Janet Van de Graaff, maid of honor, friend and confidant, and all that rot. Oh, where's the bar?
A wedding today.
It's prohibition, madam.
A wedding, how gay.
Good thing I brought my own.
A wedding today.
Bubbles make me drowsy.
It's really happening, truly happening, almost happening. What is happening?
I'm Trix, the aviatrix, queen of the sky. I circle through the stratus in my modern apparatus. I'm Trix, the aviatrix. I've gotta fly. I'll see ya when they tie the knot.
A wedding today.
Ding-a-ling,
Ding-a-ling.
a wedding.
Well, there you have it. All the characters have been introduced. We have a bride who's giving up the stage for love, her debonair bridegroom, a harried producer, two jovial gangsters posing as pastry chefs, a Latin Lothario, a flaky Corey, and an aviatrix, what we now call a lesbian.
Surely happening.
And of course, my favorite character, the drowsy chaperone. What more could you possibly need for an evening's entertainment? Wasn't that wonderful? And we will ding along. I don't even know what that means. All right, I'll lead you through this record as best I can. Don't worry, it won't be hard to follow. The characters are all two-dimensional and the plot is well worn. So we begin with a welcome from the love-struck groom.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you all for coming. I must be some lucky fellow. Who would have thought that I, Robert Martin, would be marrying a glamorous showgirl, and that glamorous showgirl would be giving up her successful career for me, Robert Martin. Well, gosh, if it weren't for prohibition, I'd say let's raise a glass.
Here, here.
To Miss Janet Van de Graaff, the most beautiful girl in the world.
Absolutely not.
Excuse me.
And now George says something that sets the whole convoluted plot in motion.
Groom mustn't see his bride on the day of the wedding. It's bad luck.
As a story point, it's flimsy, I know. But I love it because it's flimsy.
Breakfast will be served in the Arabian room.
Say, it's a little early in the day to be drinking, don't you think?
I don't understand the question.
Uh-huh. Well, you just keep Janet away from Robert. You're the chaperone. That's your only job.
Aye, mon capitan.
I mustn't see you again till we're at the altar. Whatever shall I do?
Oh, Robert, I was going to wait until our wedding night. But here, it's my latest publicity still.
You look even better in black and white.
Oh, Robert, who's my little monkey?
I'm your little monkey.
So the bride and groom are whisked away, and we turn our attention to the B plot, which involves the producer.
Sick.
Even show business.
Mr. Feltzick.
Doesn't she know I got obligations?
Mr. Feltzick.
What is it, Kitty?
I could be your leading lady. You said it yourself. I'm useless in the chorus.
Kitty, for the last time, you ain't got what it takes.
But I've been taking lessons. Acting, singing, ballet.
Ballet?
Yeah, and I'm pretty good at it too. Last week I auditioned for Swanee Lake.
That's Swan Lake.
Oh, no wonder I didn't get a call back.
A little annotation here. In real life, Kitty and Feltzig were a couple, Jack and Sadie Adler. Sadie's talent for playing dim-witted chorus girls came naturally. She wasn't the sharpest knife in the tool drawer, but she had a wonderful career on the stage. Back then, the stage was the only place where stupid people could earn a decent living. This was before television, of course.
Kitty, I don't have time for this.
A petit four, Mr. Feltzick.
Not now.
Then perhaps a nice profiterole.
Boys, I'm not hungry.
Then perhaps we could offer you something else to chew on. Yeah, something that ain't food.
What?
Allow me to elucidate. Although we stand here before you in the guise of innocent pastry chefs, we are also and primarily employees of a certain individual.
A certain individual.
Yeah, a certain individual who happens to be the largest single investor in the Feltzig's Follies. He has sent us here as pastry chefs to express his concern about Miss Vandergraff's impending nuptials. Specifically, that if she gets married and leaves the show, then there ain't no show. Don't I know you? No, you don't. Have you ever spent any time in Toledo? No. Have you ever spent any time in a coma? No, but I've got a cousin in Seattle.
Kitty, please. Boys, you tell your boss this wedding is never going to happen. You have my word.
Oh, we'll take your word, all right. But to go back on that word would be a recipe for disaster. Yeah, like baking your shortbread too long. Or turning your upside-down cake right side up. Or putting cats in a pie. Well, cat pie. That would taste awful. Yes. Yes, it would. To summarize, we hope we have made ourselves perfectly eclair. One can only hope. You biscotti, be kidding me. A trifle much? Don't taunt with me.
All right. You can drop with the pastry chef act.
Alas, we cannot. We're on the lamb. Lamb's an entree, you macaroon.
The gangsters were played by vaudeville duo the Chair Brothers, John and Peter Chair. They were originally born Abram and Mendel Miloskovics, but were renamed at Ellis Island by a bored immigration official. They represent an early example of the typical Broadway gangster, full of wordplay and stylized movements, but really not very intimidating unless you find dancers intimidating. Which I do, but not for reasons that would be appropriate to this situation.
We'll leave the matter in your hands, Mr. Feltzick. In the meantime, feel free to browse the dessert carousel. Yeah, we got a creme brulee that's to die for. And a peach melba that'll break your kneecaps. They're gangsters.
You think so?
I remember them. They ran a protection racket in my old neighborhood. If you didn't pay up by the end of each month, they'd come by your place and give you a surprise.
Surprise.
A Toledo surprise.
I never heard of that.
That's because people who have heard of it are never heard from again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're dead.
Yes, I get it. Go powder your face. I've got to stop this wedding. But how? Oh, Lord in heaven, how?
I always thought that moment was a little overplayed. So, with the plot well on its way, we turn our attention to the groom's room.
Say, handsome, show me those pearly whites.
The groom was played by the dashing Percy Hyman. He was the Albright toothpaste man. Albright was hugely popular in the early 20s because it had cocaine in it. It's true. If you looked at the ingredient list, it was the 5th one down right after sugar. Anyway, it wasn't long before he became a huge matinee idol.
Now let's see. The rabbit goes around the hole, down the hole. Oh, Robert, you're all the thumbs. Oh, you're nervous, aren't you? No, you aren't. Yes, you are. Look, it's perfectly normal for a groom to be nervous on his wedding day. No, it isn't. Yes, it is.
I love Percy Hyman. Some people say he acts like a toothpaste model, but to those people I say, shut up.
Hey there, Mr. Mirror Man, shaking and a-quaking, trembling like them fraidy cats do. Something may be bothering you. Cold feet, brother, you got cold feet. You can make them cold feet hot with a little rhythm. Young feet, old feet can be uncontrolled feet. Rather make them cold feet trot down the aisle. Frosty arches, they can learn to swim. Icy toes can jive. Wedding marches played in ragtime swing make frigid souls come alive and take that dive. Cold feet, schmold feet, turn them into bold feet. Rather make them cold feet hot.
Why don't you just slide back into your mud hole, you backstabbing, slithering worm? Well, now I have to find a new minister. What the hell are you doing?
I'm singing an old song an old Negro taught me. A Dixie remedy for wedding day jitters.
You've got jitters. You've got the easy part. I've got to find rice, boutonnieres, a minister. I've got the weight of the wedding on my shoulders.
Oh, George, it sounds like you've got cold feet.
What do I got?
Cold feet.
What do I want?
Bold feet.
What do I do? Scold feet?
No! You make the cold feet hot. A 5, 6, 7, 8. Gold feet, gold feet. Turn them into bold feet. Rather make them gold feet hot. make the cold feet hot.
Percy Hyman was a wonderful performer. I like to think of him panting and sweating after a long dance routine. He's still alive, you know. I saw him on the news the other day celebrating his 100th birthday. To say that the passing years had taken their toll on him would be a grotesque understatement. They wheeled him out and he had that pained expression of wide-eyed confusion that God reserves for the very, very old on their birthdays. You know, the one that says, "Who are you? Who am I? And why is this cake on fire?" You know what I'm talking about anyway.
Well, that's enough of that. Tap dancing around like a fool.